Welcome to my channel, and may the 4th be with you. A friend of mine, Giselle, asked me to create some Mickey ears to celebrate May the 4th up in Disney World. And of course, I turned to Let's Resin to start my project. I'm using the Fast Cure as well as some coaster molds to start my ears. Because these ears are going to be Star Wars themed, I decided to add some fairy lights. So I just had some fairy lights in my stash as well as these wonderful coaster molds. And they also have coaster molds at Let's Resin. You can find it on Amazon, and there'll be a whole bunch of descriptions down below in my descriptions. I mean links, I'm sorry. So here I'm just adding the lights to the ears, making sure there's enough space so that it could be on the headgear correctly. Now, I made sure to heat my resin before I mix them, and as you can see, I am mixing very slowly as to not create any bubbles. I do add some heat to the mixture to make sure to eliminate any bubbles that might have formed during the mixing process. Again, with Fast Cure, it's always good to go slowly so that everything turns out right. Now, I mixed both the same parts of A and B, so 2 parts A, 2 parts B. Now I'm separating into smaller containers to be able to add some colors. I'm also adding some resin colors straight to the resin mold itself so that I can mix it together. I'm trying to make it look like a galaxy in these ears so that there'll be stars and some lasers and stuff. And here I'm just adding a little bit of black to the mixture. I do want them to be a bit transparent. Now, the yellow that you see in this mixture actually turns out to be glow in the dark. So when my friend is in black light, which they have a lot of in those rides, you'll be able to see this yellow like lasers in her ears. So now I'm adding the mixture of black just to cover up. Now I've already added some glitter, and now I'm just going to cover it up with the black just to darken so it looks more like space, right? That's what we want it to look like space. And I'm making sure to make some swirls so it looks like there's clouds or whatever, nebula, I guess it's nebula, out in the galaxies. And I really had so much fun with this. This was a last minute request, so I'm trying to get this video out for May the 4th. I wish I could have done it prior, but I've been busy. But here you have something that if you do decide to go to Disney World or Disneyland, you have some Star Wars related ears that you can create. Now again, with this mold, with the coaster mold, you can create any kind of Mickey ears. Imagine all the different themes that you can create with Let's Resin. Now, the fast epoxy resin, the Fast Cure epoxy resin, cures within 4 hours. May is also the anniversary of Mod Podge, so I want to celebrate Mod Podge as well, and I'm using their new product. It's a Stiffy product. It's a fabric stiffener, and this is wonderful, especially since I had this Star Wars fabric that Giselle brought me, and I cut out some of the pieces, but to fussy cut it, I decided to use the fabric stiffener so it would be easier to cut out those words and the X-Wing fighter, as you can see right there. Now, once I have it all covered, I just let it sit for a few minutes and it stiffened up. Look how nice it's stiffened up. So it's so much easier to cut out the letters or the objects that I'm going to include in my Star Wars Mickey ears. This is the first time I'm trying out this product, and I was happy to say that it worked very well with the resin. I actually used UV resin to secure it to the ears, to secure all of these designs to the ears, and it worked absolutely fantastically. So once I have all of my starfighters cut out and fussy cutted, I'm going to add them to my resin ears. For this step, I'm going to use the UV resin simply because it has a short cure time, and also it's, I think, much easier to use for these small items. Once again, I'm using my little heat gun to heat up the UV resin bottles, and you'll notice that UV resin bottles are obviously in black bottles to keep them fluid. If not, they will cure with sunlight. So if you don't have a UV light, but you live in a sunny place like I do in Miami, you can just leave these outside in the sun for a few minutes and it will cure the same way a UV light would. So here you can see that I'm adding my Star Wars lettering, and now I'm just going to start up my little UV light that I also got from Let's Resin. Just a few minutes and it'll be ready to go. Now once I had adhered it, I'm going to cover the whole ear with the UV resin. Now this is very cool. You can see in just a minute how the lights have stayed within the resin, and now I'm going to add some more nebulous clouds in space. I'm using the UV resin in layers to make sure that it is all adhered, and adding some more glitter. I'm also adding some, I guess it's called luminous or pearlescent type of powders. As you can see, they also help to create some nebulous clouds. Now to attach them to my headband, I'm using a clear 1-inch headband, as you can see there, and I'm just using some ribbon to adhere them and hot glue to adhere the ears to the actual headband. Now I should have used the UV resin. I could have adhered them with the UV resin as well, but since this is my first time, I am learning as I go along. I'm adding a popsicle stick just to make sure that the ears do not add any additional weight to the headband itself, and they are secured and balanced on top of the headband. I didn't want them to separate and go on either side. Now I made this ribbon with some, or bow I should say, with some Star Wars fabric from Hobby Lobby, and I'm attaching a ribbon to the back because it's always nice to have a nice decorated back. And here I'm attaching the light control to the top of the headband and just covering it with a little piece of fabric and hot glue. Now I'm adhering the principal bow to the top, and this is a beautiful big bow with all the Star Wars drama upon it, you know, not just the writing, but there's starfighters all over it. And now let's take a final look at this wonderful Mickey ears headband to celebrate May the 4th. Here you can see under the UV light those glow in the dark moments in that UV resin. I think it came out fabulous. Let's take a closer look. Thank you again for stopping by, and as I always say, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure, and may the 4th be with you always.